I get it, you're scrolling through endless home gym options, trying to picture how a piece of equipment will actually fit into your cramped garage or spare room, and every other video is either shouting about the best Smith machine ever or drowning you in a sea of specs. You're probably wondering if you're about to spend a few $100s on something that will end up collecting dust, or if you'll finally have a solid station that lets you and a partner share the space without stepping on each other's toes. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. So let's talk about the GMWD Dual Station Smith Machine Power Cage. At first glance it looks like the kind of all-in-one beast that promises to replace a rack, a press, a lat pull-down and a leg extension machine all at once. The headline claim is that it's a dual-user setup with two independent 121-pound weight stacks, which sounds perfect for a couple who wants to work out together, or for a single person who likes to switch between upper and lower body movements without constantly reconfiguring the machine. The real question is whether that promise translates into a smooth day-to-day experience, and whether the price point actually reflects the value you'll get once it's bolted to the wall. First, the installation. This isn't a piece you just roll out of a box and start lifting. The frame is built from heavy-duty steel, and you'll need a decent amount of floor space, about 8 feet wide and 4 feet deep, to accommodate the dual stations comfortably. The manuals are fairly detailed, but you'll still want at least 2 people for the initial assembly, because the weight stacks and the Smith bar have to be aligned precisely. In practice, most owners I've spoken with said the assembly took them a full afternoon, and they needed a drill, a socket set, and a level. If you're comfortable with a bit of DIY, that's fine, but if you're hoping for a plug-and-play experience you might feel a little burned. Once it's up and running, the daily usability is where the GMWD starts to earn its stripes. The independent weight stacks mean you can have a partner doing a bench press on one side while you're doing a squat on the other, without having to wait for the plates to be swapped. That's a real time saver if you share the gym with a spouse or roommate. The stacks are operated with a simple pin selector, which feels sturdy and clicks into place with enough resistance that you don't worry about accidental drops. The Smith bar itself slides on a pair of rollers that glide smoothly, and the travel distance is about 24 inches, enough for a full range of motion on most lifts, but not so long that you need to constantly adjust the safety catches. One practical strength is the built-in cable system that lets you do lat pull-downs, low rows, triceps push-downs, and leg curls without buying separate pulleys. The cables run through a series of pulleys mounted on the frame, and the handles are interchangeable. In a real-world setting, that means you can finish a full upper body circuit without leaving the station, which is a huge convenience if you're trying to keep your heart rate up. The weight stacks are limited to 121 pounds each, so you won't be loading the machine with the kind of heavy plates you'd see in a commercial gym, but for most home users that ceiling is more than sufficient for progressive overload. Now, let's look at the trade-offs. The first hidden cost is the footprint. Because it's a dual station, you lose the ability to tuck the machine against a wall as you would with a single station Smith. If your garage is already crammed with a treadmill and a power rack, you may have to sacrifice some floor space or even consider moving the entire setup to a dedicated room. The second compromise is the weight limit. The 121-pound stacks are great for beginners and intermediate lifters, but if you're consistently benching 200 pounds or squatting more than 250, you'll quickly outgrow the resistance. The machine does accept external plates on the bar for added load, but the design of the Smith bar's travel and safety catches isn't meant for heavy Olympic-style lifting, so you'll have to be careful not to exceed what the frame can safely handle. Who should buy this? If you're a couple who wants to work out together, or a solo lifter who values variety and wants to keep the cardio-to-strength transition tight, this is a solid candidate. It shines for people who need a compact yet versatile hub for bodyweight, resistance band, and moderate weight training all under one roof. It also works well for those who appreciate the safety net of a Smith bar, especially if you're new to free-weight barbell work and want a guided path for squats, overhead presses, and bench presses. The independent stacks also make it appealing for homeschoolers or kids who are just getting into strength training, because you can set a lower resistance for them without having to